Hi, my name's Mike Wilson. Today I'm going to talk about building a dry box for my filament for my 3D printer. Um, I recently posted about converting a food dehydrator into a filament dehydrator. And once I get my filament dry, where I just recently opened a new roll, how do I keep it dry? And so I've started putting together these filament dry boxes using food storage containers. What I wanted was when I got to looking around, a waterproof or I'm sorry, airtight container, and I was able to find those on Amazon. So I found these Wild One food storage containers, um, and this particular one, they're about $5 or so per container. So I liked the price. So I went ahead and ordered those, and then got to looking around. How could I go ahead and make this into a dry box so I can print directly from inside the container? And so today I'm just going to go over the steps I took to convert a container over so that I could, again, get my filament in and then print directly from those boxes. Now, most of my printers, I would need either a filament coming out the side or filament coming out the top. So what I did was I looked around for designs that would let me basically put two different holes in the box and then keep those sealed while I depending on which one I was going to use. So let me just go ahead and show you the process I used to do all this. The materials I had to purchase to create the dry box included the Wild One food storage container, roller skate bearings, and then lastly, these desiccant packets. Now what I found was I needed about 5 of these packets per storage container. And I found that when I placed a hydrometer inside the box, I can get between a 30 to 40% reduction in humidity from my office compared to inside the dry box. For the hydrometers, again, got those off of Amazon and got them for about, I guess, $4 a meter. And I said they're well worth it. They work well for me. They also come with spare batteries. The printed components I needed to put my box together were a stand and spool holder to go on the bottom of the box. I have these bearings, and I have two, one for the top, one for the side, that are set up so that way I can either run the filament through or I can seal off the hole. So I really like those. And then lastly, I also have a PTFE and filament cap that can go on the end on the filament I'm running out, just again to keep it sealed. So those are my printed components. I'm going to mention with this bearing that one of the things I really like about it is there's a little space inside here so I can put a piece of sponge to either wipe the filament clean as it's coming into the printer, or I've also put a sponge with a bit of canola oil to use this as an oiler for my all metal hot end to basically cure the heat break to reduce clogs, and that's worked really well. So my first step was to print out the spool holder, and I printed that out. I've printed it on both an Ender 5 Plus and also on my CR6 SE. And then once I printed these out, I went ahead and printed the two different bearings I needed, and I printed those on my CR6. These actually printed relatively quickly. Lastly, I printed the PTFE cap to go on the end of the loose filament. And I found all these models, I'll put in the description. I'm going to go ahead and assemble the spool holder. And I need 4 of the bearings. Those bearings go right here. Now I found in some cases these don't go on that easily. And what I've been doing is if they don't go on easily, I have an old hair dryer here that I go ahead and hit these nubs with, and then these slip right on. But it looks like these are pressing on pretty good. So I'll take the other side and press that in. So now I have one roller. Go ahead and do the next roller. Now my 2 rollers are together. Put those aside. And I have these little plates that go on here on the bottom. So let's go ahead and insert those. That's a little tough to get this one in. See, I got to wrestle with it a little bit. Not thin. Next, I got to line these up on the side, make sure they fit. And I'll need to slide those apart a little bit. Let's see if I can get this side a little bit better. Up, so they snap together. And then put the centerpiece through. Again, this is a little tough, but I just work at it and it'll eventually go through. There we go. And then next thing I need to do is take a spool. Just make sure that's sitting in there properly, and I need to move these a little further apart. Looks like it's fitting perfectly. Okay. Now I have screws, nuts and screws that can go on this part to hold the braces together. I should put those on first. Before I put the sides on, but well. one. Take me a minute to get it started here. I found I don't necessarily need the screws, but I go ahead and put it in there just to make sure it's extra secure. Let's go ahead and tighten these up. Just hold everything in place. Okay, so that's together, and I'll go ahead and put that aside. Next, I'm going to go ahead and I have these components here to put into the housing here. It's just twist in. I'm using the large male connectors. Okay, so that's in. Put those aside. And next, I'm going to drill the holes in my box. Now, what I found is the 3/4 inch drill bit works perfectly. So I'm going to drill a hole in the lid first. I'll clean that out a little bit. And then I'm going to drill a hole in the side here. And I'm going to put this in first. See which side I want to put the hole on. I'm going to put the hole on this side. So let's just measure this out a little bit better. Put that in the bottom. I'll put my spool in. It's like so. The hole probably should be about here. Mark that real quick. And I'll take my drill and I'll go ahead and drill a hole here in the side. So now I have 2 3/4 inch holes drilled in my box. Let me clean up my workspace a little bit. Yeah, I have my holes drilled. I've cleaned them up a little bit. And let me go ahead and insert these. Now in the case of this box, I'll run the filament out initially from the side. So I'm going to go ahead and put these pieces together. And as I mentioned, since I'm not going to use the top hole, I'm going to put this solid cap in so I can keep that seal. So the top's together. Next, I'm going to put in the fittings on the side. slip out of my hands. Push a little bit to get it started. I actually want that hole to be a little tight to keep that seal. There we go. So that on, and then since I'm going to run the filament out of here, I'll put the cap on that has the hole in it. So now I have the holes put together, and I forgot to mention that I also printed out a little holder for my hydrometer to go inside the box. So let's go ahead and put that there, and then I'm going to put everything inside of the box. Hydrometer is right there. And let me go ahead and I'm going to put 5 packets of desiccant in. Another reason why I like this brand of desiccant and I like the little packets is there's instructions on the back of the package where I can reactivate these by just microwaving them on defrost for 7 to 12 minutes. And in my microwave, so I like the fact that I could reuse these if they stop working quite as well. 5 packets in the back here. I'll go ahead and put my filament in. I'm going to take the filament and run it through the hole here. Go ahead and put the top on. See, it runs really well. So it's rolling well. I'm going to take my piece of PTFE tubing. Go ahead and run that through. Insert that in here. As I mentioned, I can put this little cap on the end. And now I have a fully sealed box that when I'm ready to go, I can just take off this cap and run the filament right out of the box directly into the printer. So I really like this setup. Now I found, as I mentioned previously, that keeping the filament in the box like this, the humidity in the box is about 30 to 40% lower than it is here in my office. If you notice, it's already starting to move down since I put it inside the box. And probably within a couple hours, again, that humidity will be reduced greatly. So this is what it takes for me to put together a dry box. If you have any questions, please post them in the comments. and I'll put in links in the description of all the various stuff I bought off Amazon, and then as well as the various prints I used and designed to put all this together. Again, I thank you for your time, and I look forward to any questions you might have.